Who am I? I'm Collins Ocholla, and my sign name is this. But before, my first sign name was this. Then later on, my sign name changed to this. And right now, everyone knows me like Bishop. Yeah, thank you. Wow, thank you for the question. How was I born? Was I born deaf? How it started? It started in a very funny way. So first, I was really asking my parents, like, was I born deaf? Then my parents are telling me, like, if you want to know, what's the reason as to why you want to know? And I just left them because they're always harsh. Then I moved to my mother, asked the same. Then my mother asked me, like, why are you asking me? Why do you want to know? Then it was really hard. I thank God why, because later on, my mother and father took me to village. Then I was staying with my grandma. Then I asked my grandma. Then I asked my grandma, was I born hearing or deaf? Like the way grandmas do, they always open. So then she told me, like, before your father was living in Kisumu and he was working in Kisumu and staying with your mother. Then there was a boyfriend or another man who is a friend of your family, but he was a neighbor, but his work was like witchcraft. Then later on he came to our place and took a cup, then went to the village. Then he was jealous and he wanted to aim me, just the same way like the Luo do. They celebrate whenever someone is dead. So he wanted to kill me. Then they did, like, oh, he did his witchcraft. Then I was sick for a very long time. I was taken to hospital for closely like 6 months, almost to die. But thanks to God, like, God gave me life, and later on I became deaf. This story I learned from my grandma. Perfectly. I was born hearing. Then when I was born hearing, later on when I was growing up, I became deaf at the age of 7. By the time I was in a hearing school, so okay, I was born hearing. Then I went to a hearing school. Then when I went to a hearing school, at that time, I just continued well. Then later on, I became deaf. Then there were really hard challenges when I became deaf. I was really telling my parents that I can't be able to hear, but they insisted that I should stay in school. My parents were afraid that I could lose the ability of me speaking. So they I sat in front so that I can be able to mouth or lip read the teacher. This is so I was able now to learn. So my parents thought that whenever they take me to a deaf school, I will lose the way of hearing. Also, in school, I was really like zero-minded. At the age of 13, I could not fingerspell or say my name. My education, I had a problem with my education. If you tell me to spell for your cow at that time, I could even tell you it's WOC. It was really, really a challenge. Then later on, I was taken to Maseno Primary School. From there, I was really much shocked to really meet the deaf world. Imagine, by the time I was in a hearing school until class 6, I did until my class 6. Then when I was taken to Maseno, I was returned back to class 1 because I got zeros on my exam, my interview exam. So then my journey started until class 8. Yes. So first, I started in a primary school. Then I moved the same at Nyangoma, Bondo. So that is where I did my high school, my secondary. From there, after Form 4, it happened that I had skills in my training, in my science. It was a God-given talent. Imagine, after my Form 4, it was around November. In December, I was called for an interview. From the interview, I went and got a job from January the next month. Then I got a very huge salary. Then even I just left alone about education. So my education journey just ended there. So when I was comparing my salary with my parents, mine was really, by far, it was really a lot. So then I was working in Door International as translating the Bible. You know, I was used to life of Githeri, but right now my life has changed. I was really much happy, but my parents were, encouraging me to save and save. They're telling me that I should invest in university so that I can be able to, increase my level. So I never wanted much of that. Thank you. You know that I was working in a Bible translation, organization, which was DOA. So, you know, people have their ways of reading the Bible. For example, you can't read a Chinese Bible, a Luo written Bible. I cannot be able to understand it. But the deaf way, yes, the Bible is written in English. It says, oh, the Bible says that the God so loved the world. Yes, but can you summarize it in brief? Yes, maybe people interpret it in a different way. So my work was translating the Bible from English, pure English, to KSL. That is the deaf way. Then later on, when a deaf person puts the video, I sees the summary. It says, "In the world, there was at the beginning." Then it now became like inspiring and encouraging to the deaf person. So I was working in a Bible translation organization for closely like 6 months. So, for me, signing or translating the Bible, I never matched with that career. So, we were sending it out to the deaf, but the deaf will not use it. The deaf were used to movies. So, later on, I was sent to Kiambu, around that in Kiambu County, that is in Thika, as a missionary. And my aim was to encourage the deaf persons to continue watching their videos. Then, long story short. Okay, by the time I was working with Door, my life was really awesome. And then later on I was posted to Thika, then my work ended. Oh, my life came back. I started wishing or knowing that, yes, my parents are telling me right. Like if I could have plan A and plan B, things could be okay whenever I lose one. So I was focusing on one plan. So now that I lost my work, I had a family, my child needs to go to school. Can I tell my child that let me go and do university so that I can be able to pay for your school fees? That was really challenging. But later on, God gave me opportunities. Then I was working in a supermarket. Luckily enough, I went to a supermarket. Then imagine I was never knowing about anything about computers, but I learned computer studies in Doha. So I got some technical skills. Whenever I wanted to apply to the supermarket, I was working as a cashier. Later on, things were working good. Money, setting up my family, it was just fair. Because, the hearing believed that the deaf person, whenever they see even 7,000, they see it like a 30,000. So you see, it was like opportunities. But later on, I cut off my journey of working in that. Then I moved to a hospital and I was working as a supporting staff. Yeah, I was doing cleaning. But for me, I felt challenged because I'm really much famous and most of the deaf persons knows me. So if I work as a supporting staff and any deaf person understands or sees that, it could be a challenge. So I wanted like an office work. So it was really a challenge. Then later on, after I ended that, luckily enough, right now, I'm in something that I really love, a sign language teacher, and I thank God. Thank you. First, most important thing is me teaching sign language. I was teaching near MKU University. So where was I located in Kenya National Library Service? Yes, that is where I was. Kenya National Library Service CEO in Nairobi empowered us by creating, different branches in 47 counties. Right now we have 6. One is online, and the one who's teaching online class is hard of hearing. But also the other schools are taught by deaf persons. We don't recognize hearing people teaching sign language because it's our language, not their language. I can't teach Luo language because I don't understand Luo language. And why does a hearing person need to teach sign language? What does he understand about sign language? You know, there are other even technical terms that even interpreters could not understand. So and we recommend deaf persons to teach. So how was I attracting students? Let me explain it. In MKU, there is a special needs course. So special needs education. There's a unit for sign language. So whenever in that exam they always stranded. So that was an opportunity for me, and my students could come in for that reason. So I was advertising myself by putting posters outside the gate, saying how much that I charge, what do I teach. Then the student could read and contact me. By the time they could contact me, my work was to make sure that I give them quality education, quality service. Some of them could be slow learners, but I could not, kick them out or say that they are disappointing me, because I really knew that whenever they go outside there, they'll assist the deaf persons. Even whenever a deaf person comes across them, then ask them who's your teacher, they'll say Collins. Then it could come back to me saying that I teach very poorly. So, whenever I teach them very hard in school, so that they go outside, they'll portray a good name of me, Collins, being their teacher. So, even they meet outside there, they could say, my teacher was Collins. And with that is also marketing. And also, a person will say, like, a student could come in and say that I knew you from maybe someone by the name Faith, and what's the other name, a Kamba name. Then later on I could even give the person who recommended me, something small like a tea to encourage. So that is how the journey started. So right now, we teach more students. We teach more students, closely to 60 students, like even 12. We have no problem. We've been continuing very well. Okay, KNAD. What does KNAD mean? Kenya National Association of the Deaf. So if you want to know more about the deaf, you can really consult KNAD. So right now, KNAD has not come up with a curriculum for teaching sign language. So the government recognizes KISE, but what about KSL? But how I teach is how I learned sign language. How did I learn? Whenever I joined the deaf school for the first time, I never knew any sign. But right now, I've learned in a deaf school, and how I got the skills, that is how I deliver it, or I teach it. So I'm teaching on my curriculum. How do we start? First, we start with the ABC. That is very important. Numbers, families, that is how I, teach them. I can't come and just start teaching about this is a mother, this is how to do mother. I also do consult. We have Horizon, we have Kenyan Sign Language Research Project. So I do consult them, then I teach. I can't say that this is my sign of cap, because this will do a confusion in sign language, bring a confusion in science. And also even the other countries will be very much proud to say that, we are really much happy that even Africans are not able to, to stand on themselves. We should show them this is our way. So outside, maybe my student and other students from other institutions, whenever they interact, they'll, sign together and the same. So that is a challenge. So sometimes you may ask some institution about their signs, or tell them, how do you sign cap? Then they say, give me a 1,000 deposit. Then later on, whenever they consult me, I just do the same, tit for tat. There's a lot of competition today, but the most important thing is to make sure that we teach students the correct thing, so that outside they can be able to assist the deaf community. Thank you. Yeah, different institution teaches sign language, and also we employ someone from Nairobi to go and teach in Kajiado. That is not correct. Let a deaf person from Kajiado, who knows the challenges of Kajiado, to go, teach. For example, how they teach, how they do a sign of slaughtering a cow. That is it. So, most numbers of them, they do it in a certain way, but who am I to go there and teach them that this is the sign? In Luo Nyanza, let them employ a guy or a deaf person from Nyanza. For example, how they do ugali is that how they'll sign ugali. So I cannot come from Nairobi to there, then tell them that this is the sign of sign. So in Kikuyu, are they used to ugali? No, they're used to mokimo. So that the students, I may teach them in Thika. So maybe I may teach them this is the sign of ugali, or this, to make it clear. Then whenever they get, maybe my student gets work in Kisumu, then says, no, this is the sign of ugali. So no, now that simply means that that person will have two signs. In Thika, the one that I taught him or her, then whenever it goes to Kisumu, we'll find another sign. So this will create more experience in this language. And this student can also become an international sign language since he knows more signs about particular things. So we do respect each person with their own sign, but later on when the curriculum will be implemented, we shall respect that. Thank you. Before let me just before I want to answer your question, let me explain something clearly. In Kenya, don't really understand what is written in the constitution perfectly. So I want to ask Kenya National Association of the Deaf to kindly just look for funds, look for deaf persons, explain it to them what it really means, what the constitution means. The reason as to why I was working in Doha is to translate the Bible, to bring it in a normal, understandable language. So this could also create recognition, just recognizes us doing sign language. For example, in the past, the deaf could also see things happening in the news, people, talking, the government, people breaking the law, but people never understood that the deaf person could not understand. But right now, we really thank the government because they have tried by giving, recognizing sign language. How? Through social media, because we have sign language interpreters on the screens. Yes, we do have them. We have most of the things which are, have not been achieved. The government has promised us, but they have not yet, delivered or implemented what they promised us. Also, we want to know, like in the parliament, what my MP is really saying. Yes, it is good, but is it enough? No. So we do also forget that we also have deaf and blind who can, see not that clearly, but are they able to get that interpreter? No. Another thing, the size of the interpreter and the screen is really small. So should I move my sofa set to the TV and come closer for me to understand? So at the same time, the government promised to promote or enhance, but until when? We, the deaf community, have been waiting. Finally, I want to say this. What the government promised that they will promote, when I compare it, is like 3%. Just for example, the news. I've not seen any other most thing. Mostly in this year, most of the deaf persons are dying because in hospital, do we have interpreters? No. The reason as to why I refused to go to university, I could pay like 45,000. My parents could pay 45,000, and also for another interpreter, do they have money? Then why is special needs for education, course in universities? So that is a very big challenge. Even in deaf schools, students do fail, yes, but they don't get enough information. The teacher, yes, is teaching, the students are not understanding because they're just only copying the books. So I'm advocating, and the reason for my advocation is for the near future. These barriers, we can be able to solve them in a very easy way. It's really simple, not very hard. So right now, there's a confusion that we really need to remove. Which confusion? Like right now, you can see like the deaf were very huge in numbers. But right now, like whenever a deaf person goes to a government institution to really advocate, they're not seen like equally. So whenever a deaf person goes to advocate, yes, comes in with an interpreter, then the interpreter does the voicing. Then when the government official is giving back the feedback. The deaf person really does not understand everything that the government official has said. Then you find like later on the interpreters create organizations, and also things are now moving to the interpreters, not the deaf side. So also organization from the deaf, you find they're not recognized. They recognize the interpreters organization because they're able to speak. So what I can really advise is let the deaf be on top, and let the interpreters be as below them. So I also do really thank God that we have also the KSL bill, and also I do pray and plead with the government to pass the bill, and also this can also create or lead to a budget for the deaf persons. And when money is accessible, and it can really assist in many ways, and it can really assist also in advocating, number one, for public universities to employ interpreters, and also this will create passion and interest for learning for the deaf side. And also even the lecturers will never believe how the deaf students will be performing very great. And yes, this is also communicating to accessibility in communication. Now also KNAD, or Kenya National Association of the Deaf, can also empower other associations or other organizations to really also foster or push on even private universities to have interpreters. Another thing, whenever I'm sick, whenever I go to the hospital, what does the doctor do? Write boldly in different terms and Englishes, making me to struggle. So that even making the deaf persons avoiding hospitals and going to chemist, asking for or explaining my illness, then getting a wrong prescription. So we also really need to advocate. Even hospitals need to employ interpreters, or employ not only interpreters but also even deaf personnel who have studied about health. Yes, they can be able to do the science very well. Whenever I just go into a hospital, I say, yes, I'm deaf, and I'm having a headache, then he or she could be able to understand. And also, even the deaf person could also teach them, and that could also mainstream and make things easy, because most deaf persons are dying because of illness and wrong prescriptions. Let me give you just a short story. We went to a burial of a lady in Kisumu. Sorry for bringing this family story here, because it was all like announced by an interpreter, so it's now known. So there's this deaf person who went to the hospital. Then then the doctor was really complaining, like, why is this deaf person coming here, disturbing me very much. So you see, the attitude, number one, it caused a problem. So one thing we can do is, first of all, unite, make sure that we advocate. Let us remove the barriers in the universities, the barriers in the hospitals, remove the way parents think, like, to hide their deaf children. Show them that yes, deaf people they can be able to become even drivers, even they can be able to become even lawyers. The hearing side always believe that the deaf can't be able to do anything because they're not able to hear. One thing I can really much advise Kenya National Association of the Deaf is to really continue pushing the government. Don't get tired. All deaf schools, all deaf principals should have all deaf schools should have deaf principals, because they don't hearing principal cannot understand the deaf person. And whenever the hearing principal will also see the other students like fools, and also even tell them or abuse them that they are fools. But whenever we have a deaf principal, they cannot be able to do the same. So employ deaf headmasters and principals. So you see, the hearing people, whenever they come to manage the deaf persons, they see them as fools, even tell them that even you can't be able to do anything, then even complain that, I've been able to teach this student 1 + 1 for many years, then the student is not, grasping anything. If it's a deaf principal or headmaster, explain that to the teacher. Don't bring the hearing culture to the deaf side. Can also teach a deaf person 1 + 1. After 2 years, to achieve it, he will know it's 2 for a very long time. And even that could also create more interest for deaf persons, and also more interest for, the principals. Even whenever the government tends to go and ask the hearing principals, like who are managing the deaf schools, will say like, it's a God-given talent to them, so they learn slowly. That is not good, because they don't understand the side of the deaf. So it's really much important for the deaf persons to also succeed in their education. If you want success for this side, we need to employ deaf persons. Also, getting deaf persons getting 300 in primary school or B plus in secondary school. We have deaf persons who have become deaf at a very older age, so we can't compete with them. So anytime they come to this deaf side, whenever they do examination or competition and exams, it becomes the first. The deaf person is always the first one. So my message to encourage the deaf is, whatever skill you have, don't hide it. Use it very well. Go take action, and one day you will achieve. Just like what? Like in Thika, most deafs depend on their parent. But what I'm going to tell them is, the Kikuyu community, no, I'm not saying like the culture, I'm saying, where do you live? In Thika, that is like a Kikuyu environment. So the house or the do's, you can just do what? Wake up in the morning, leave alone how the Kikuyu do things. Sell water, sell sugarcane. Even the Luo and the Kikuyu's, ways of living is different. Maybe Luos always think of big things. You can do small things, but I have maybe a very big mansion. But it's okay. But whatever you can do, just kindly wake up in the morning, take action. I'm really happy because you've seen, even in the deaf community in Kenya, most of them, they're not beggars. We're having them selling watermelons. Even I know 3 of them, and their family are very good. If a deaf person here, if I have a skill and interest to learn, and then I don't have money, kindly just visit the organization, request the organizations to support you, and later on your brighter dream will be achieved. Whatever challenges you have inside, make sure that you can also approach the deaf leaders. Tell them that, yes, this is my issue, this and this, and they can also assist you as brothers and sisters. Any other thing, even whenever you're pressed with the hearing side in the community, go and approach the police people. The police persons cannot shoot you because they have their rules. You can just tell them that, you can just tell them, the police, that yes, this hearing people are oppressing me. Then you can also be assisted. Everyone is equal. No one is above the law. Everyone is equal, and never hide your talent. Never hide your problem. Never hide even the other many things. Depression can kill you in a minute. Hey, personally, I'm married. God is good. He has blessed us with 2 children. My first daughter at the age of 13, and my second born son at the age of 9.